The sun gleamed against the towering glass structure of the Pinnacle Hotel, its sleek design a striking contrast among the historic buildings surrounding it. Maya Holloway stepped out of a luxury sedan, her heels clicking sharply on the pavement. She was in her late 30s, poised and successful, a black woman who had climbed from humble beginnings to build a billion-dollar real estate empire. Today was supposed to be a celebration, a rare moment of rest amidst her demanding life. She had her assistant, Alicia Carter, with her, carrying their luggage and finalizing arrangements, as she always did with impeccable efficiency. "Maya, everything's set, right?" Alicia asked, noticing the subtle tension in Maya's expression as they approached the grand entrance. Maya smiled, grateful for Alicia's unwavering dedication. "Absolutely," she replied. Alicia was more than just an assistant. She was practically family. The two had weathered countless challenges together, from the days when they could barely afford office space to the present, where Maya owned properties across the nation. Yet despite her success, Maya could never fully shake the feeling of resistance, the occasional side glance, the subtle whispers that seemed to follow her in certain places. This was the Pinnacle, a hotel that prided itself on catering to the world's elite, a place where Maya should have felt at ease. But as they crossed the elegant lobby, the opulent chandeliers, marble floors, and quiet strains of classical music seemed to cast an unwelcome shadow. "Good afternoon," greeted a young receptionist. Her voice was polite, but her eyes, after glancing at Maya, held an uncomfortable flicker. "How may I assist you?" "We have a reservation under Holloway," Alicia replied firmly, her confidence unwavering. The receptionist's fingers moved over the keyboard. After a few seconds, her expression shifted, brows furrowing as she cast a brief, wary glance at Maya. "One moment, please." She muttered the words, then tapped out something else and waited, her discomfort growing with each passing second. Alicia, sensing Maya's growing frustration, stepped closer. "Could you please double-check? This reservation was confirmed weeks ago." The receptionist nodded stiffly, hesitated, then picked up the phone to summon her manager. Moments later, a tall, silver-haired man in an immaculate suit arrived with a well-practiced smile that seemed more like a mask than a genuine gesture. "Good afternoon, Miss Holloway. I'm Robert Finch, the hotel manager," he began, extending a handshake that Maya returned firmly. "Unfortunately, we seem to have encountered an issue with your reservation. It appears our suites are fully booked." Maya's stomach clenched, though her face remained calm. This wasn't the first time she had faced such mistakes. She knew what they signaled, and it was clear that the problem wasn't an overbooked hotel. It was her. "Fully booked," Alicia exclaimed, her tone growing sharp. "We confirmed this weeks ago. You assured us everything was ready." Maya raised a hand, gently silencing her assistant. Alicia's voice softened, but her frustration was still evident as she watched Maya handle the situation with her usual calm. "Thank you for your time, Mr. Finch," Maya replied coolly, her voice steady and composed. She met his gaze, challenging him to say something further, but he remained silent, his expression firm. She turned and strode toward the exit, her head held high, and Alicia, struggling to contain her anger, followed close behind. "Maya, this is outrageous," Alicia whispered fiercely once they were outside. "You shouldn't let them get away with this. We could go to the press or call our lawyer." Maya stopped and took a deep breath, a shadow of sadness flickering across her features. She looked at Alicia with a calm determination. "I've fought this battle all my life," she said quietly, her voice tinged with both frustration and resilience. "This isn't the first time I've been turned away for something as superficial as the color of my skin." Alicia's anger softened, replaced by a sadness that mirrored Maya's. "But Maya, you've built all of this. You deserve to be treated with respect." Maya's lips curved into a slight smile, though her eyes remained somber. "I know, Alicia, and that's exactly why I won't fight this on their terms. They want a reaction. They want me to make a scene. But I won't give them the satisfaction." Alicia nodded slowly, admiration filling her gaze, though the frustration still lingered. "So what now?" "Now we regroup," Maya replied, her tone growing firm once again. "We'll find a different hotel for tonight. And then?" Her gaze shifted toward the gleaming structure of the Pinnacle, her mind racing with ideas. "Then, I have other plans for the Pinnacle." Later that evening, Maya sat in a modest hotel across town, far removed from the Pinnacle's grandeur. Alicia had managed to secure a comfortable suite, and as they settled in, the sting of rejection still lingered in Maya's chest. She sipped her coffee in silence, the city's twinkling lights reflecting in the window beside her. She had spent years breaking barriers, forcing her way into spaces where people like her were often unwelcome. But this, being turned away so blatantly, had ignited something fierce within her. Alicia approached cautiously, sensing Maya's contemplative mood. "Are you okay?" Maya turned, her eyes reflecting a quiet yet intense determination. "I'm fine, Alicia. This is just a reminder of why I started this journey in the first place." Her gaze shifted out the window, a faint smile playing on her lips. "They think they've kept me out of their little palace, but they have no idea who they're dealing with." Alicia's eyes widened as Maya's plan slowly began to take shape in her mind. She knew Maya's ambition and resourcefulness, and she sensed the storm brewing within her boss. "What are you thinking?" Maya chuckled softly. "They may have turned me away as a guest, but what if I came back as something else entirely?" She allowed the idea to linger in the air, a spark of purpose lighting up her face. Alicia's lips curled into a grin as she caught on. "You mean, buy the place?" "Exactly," Maya said, her voice firm and resolute. "I've been researching luxury properties for my portfolio. The Pinnacle has been on my radar for a while, and now it's personal." Alicia laughed, her excitement growing. "You're going to turn their world upside down." Maya looked out over the city skyline, her heart pounding with anticipation. "Let's see how they feel," she murmured, "when I'm the one signing their paychecks." The plan was in motion. That night, Maya stayed up late, poring over financial records, studying the Pinnacle's assets and ownership structure. She discovered cracks in their foundation, financial troubles masked by their facade of opulence. The Pinnacle, it seemed, was ripe for a takeover, and Maya was more than ready. As dawn broke over the city, Maya sat at her desk, laptop open, fingers flying across the keyboard as she outlined her strategy. She had taken on difficult challenges before, but this would be different. This time, it wasn't just a business move, it was a personal mission. She would show them that exclusivity was no longer synonymous with discrimination, that true luxury was a space where everyone felt valued and welcome. When Alicia entered the room later that morning, she found Maya already deep into her work. "You're really doing this, aren't you?" Maya looked up with a confident smile. "I am. They turned me away because of who I am. Now, I'm going to show them exactly who I am." Over the next few days, Maya began assembling her team, discreetly laying the groundwork for a takeover. Her trusted advisors started approaching the Pinnacle's investors, testing the waters to see who might be interested in selling. As each piece of the puzzle began to fall into place, Maya felt her confidence build. She had always believed that her success was her best revenge, but this time it was more than that. This was about rewriting the rules. This was about proving that she belonged, that no one could dictate her worth or her place. And as she watched the Pinnacle Hotel in the distance, she knew that soon the world would see exactly what Maya Holloway was capable of. Maya Holloway's plan moved into action as if by invisible threads. She had learned from her early days as an entrepreneur that the greatest power was often exercised quietly, unseen. So she approached the Pinnacle's investors with the same discretion. Through a carefully chosen network of advisors, Maya explored each investor's interest in a sale, offering a price that was hard to refuse. After all, the Pinnacle, with its high-profile clientele, was facing subtle but serious financial struggles that they worked hard to keep hidden. For Maya, this was a moment she had long prepared for. Her assistant, Alicia, marveled at Maya's intensity. She had seen Maya conquer obstacles, but this plan was bold even by her standards. "You really think they'll agree to this?" Maya looked up from her laptop, where charts of the Pinnacle's financial records were displayed. She leaned back in her chair, her eyes calm and determined. "They will, Alicia. The Pinnacle is like a swan, beautiful on the surface but paddling furiously just to stay afloat. They can't afford to keep up appearances much longer." Alicia nodded, taking a moment to let it all sink in. "You're not just buying a hotel, are you?" she asked softly. "You're buying the story, their story, and you're changing it." Maya's eyes sparked with determination. Exactly. They think they can uphold these barriers because of tradition, because that's how luxury is supposed to be. But luxury isn't exclusion, it's inclusion. True luxury should mean that everyone feels welcome and valued. As Maya set her vision in motion, she moved carefully, ensuring her name stayed under the radar. Her offers were made through anonymous channels, leveraging the trust she had built within her extensive network. She quietly closed negotiations with the first few investors who accepted her offer with no hesitation. The Pinnacle board knew little of the new buyer's identity, but they heard the whispers about someone wealthy, ambitious, and relentless. In the end, most of them didn't care who the buyer was. They were ready to accept an offer that brought them security. One evening, as Maya and Alicia reviewed the final contracts, a sense of satisfaction bloomed within Maya. The culmination of her efforts had arrived. Her attorneys were already drawing up documents to ensure she would have full control over every aspect of the Pinnacle's operations. No more exclusionary practices, no more gatekeeping behind gilded doors. The Pinnacle would be transformed from the inside out. You know, Alicia began thoughtfully, Finch has no idea that the person he turned away is about to become his boss. Do you think he'll recognize you? Maya smirked, her eyes glinting with a sense of poetic justice. He might, but by then it'll be too late. 2 weeks later, a final meeting was arranged. It was the culmination of all of Maya's meticulous planning, her strategy unfolding precisely as she intended. She sat in the conference room, dressed in a tailored suit, her presence both commanding and calm. Across from her sat the Pinnacle's board members, investors, and legal representatives. To them, Maya was simply an established business magnate, a force to be reckoned with in real estate. They knew her name, knew her reputation, but they didn't know her story, at least not yet. As the lead investor, Simon Kane, scanned the final contract, he looked up with a faint, intrigued smile. "Miss Holloway," he began, his tone courteous but curious, "I must say your offer is more than generous. We're ready to proceed, but I have to ask, why the Pinnacle? You could buy nearly any hotel chain in the country." Maya leaned back, her expression controlled. "Let's just say the Pinnacle holds a personal significance to me." She left it at that, her words cool and deliberate. Kane exchanged glances with his fellow investors, but no one pressed further. They were eager to sign, to release themselves from a venture that had once symbolized success, but was now a financial burden. As the signatures were placed on the documents and hands were shaken, Maya felt a quiet triumph settle in her chest. The Pinnacle was now hers. Every inch of it, every room, every policy, every rule. That evening, she stood in her new office, overlooking the city skyline from the Pinnacle's top floor. The view was stunning, but more than that, it was symbolic. She remembered standing outside this very building, being told that her reservation didn't exist, her presence subtly dismissed. Now, here she was, not as an unwelcome guest, but as the rightful owner. The power had shifted, and with it, her sense of purpose grew stronger. The next morning, Maya and Alicia stood outside the Pinnacle once again, but this time with an air of victory. Alicia's grin was contagious as she glanced at Maya. "Are you ready for this?" Maya took a deep breath, adjusting her jacket. "I've never been more ready." As they entered the lobby, the cool eyes that had once dismissed her now turned in confusion, and then in quiet respect. The same receptionist from before was stationed at the desk. Her face paled as she recognized Maya. She stammered a polite greeting, her tone as nervous as her hands, which trembled slightly. "Good morning, welcome to the Pinnacle. How may I assist you?" she asked, her voice unsteady. Maya approached the desk, her gaze unwavering. "I'm not here for a reservation," she said smoothly, meeting the young woman's eyes. "I'm here as the new owner." The receptionist's face turned white as the realization sank in, and she struggled to respond, glancing around as if hoping someone else would intervene. I wasn't aware," she stammered. Maya offered a faint smile. "I suggest you get familiar with the changes around here." She turned on her heel and headed toward the elevator, Alicia beside her, unable to suppress her laughter. "Did you see her face?" Alicia whispered, barely containing her glee. "I think she's going to need a new job after today." Maya chuckled, her tone measured. "She's only one part of the problem, Alicia. The real work starts now." As the elevator doors closed, Alicia's excitement gave way to admiration. "I can't believe you pulled this off, Maya. You didn't just buy the hotel. You bought the opportunity to rewrite its story. Maya nodded thoughtfully. This is more than just business to me, Alicia. I'm tired of seeing people locked out of spaces that should be for everyone. And if changing the Pinnacle can start that conversation, then it's worth every penny. They rode to the top floor, where Maya's new office awaited her. The space was as impressive as she had expected, with floor-to-ceiling windows that provided a panoramic view of the city. It was a room designed for power, for someone who belonged in high places. For Maya, this was more than just a personal victory. It was a statement. Over the next several days, Maya wasted no time implementing her vision. She began by restructuring the hotel's policies, holding a meeting with the senior management team, including Finch, the very manager who had turned her away. As she walked into the conference room, her presence alone was enough to command silence. Finch's face turned a shade of pink as he realized exactly who she was. "Good morning," Maya greeted the room, her tone calm yet firm. "As you may know, the Pinnacle is now under new ownership. I'm Maya Holloway, and I will be overseeing all future operations." The managers exchanged glances, unsure of how to react. Finch shifted uncomfortably in his seat, a flicker of recognition in his eyes as he pieced together the events of her last visit. Maya continued, her gaze steady. "I've reviewed the current policies and practices, and there will be significant changes moving forward. The Pinnacle is a place of luxury, but it will no longer be a place of exclusion. We are here to serve everyone, regardless of race, gender, or background." Finch cleared his throat, attempting to regain control. "Miss Holloway, with all due respect, the Pinnacle has always upheld a standard of exclusivity for our clients. Our clientele expects—" Maya raised a hand, silencing him. "Exclusivity is not the same as discrimination, Mr. Finch. If you feel that upholding outdated standards is more important than evolving with the times, then perhaps the Pinnacle is no longer the right place for you." The room fell silent, and Finch had no choice but to lower his gaze. One by one, the managers realized the weight of Maya's words. This was a new era for the Pinnacle, and resistance would no longer be tolerated. In the following weeks, Maya's influence spread throughout the hotel. She brought in diversity and inclusion experts to retrain the staff, ensuring that each guest would be treated with respect and dignity. She appointed new team members, promoting people of color to leadership roles, and met with local community organizations to strengthen partnerships. The Pinnacle, once a symbol of exclusion, began to evolve. Word spread of the changes taking place, and some longtime patrons voiced skepticism. But as Maya's vision took shape, the Pinnacle was reborn, not just as a luxury destination, but as a place where everyone could feel a sense of belonging. And for Maya, this was just the beginning. Maya Holloway's transformation of the Pinnacle Hotel was already making waves, both within the industry and among guests. Each day she could feel the impact of her changes in every corner of the hotel. Staff morale was improving, guests from all backgrounds were welcomed without judgment, and Maya's reputation as a visionary leader was growing. Yet, deep down, Maya felt there was more to the story of the Pinnacle than its current status or its new mission. The hotel had a past, and she couldn't shake the feeling that it was time to confront it. One afternoon, Alicia entered Maya's office with a serious expression. "Maya," she began, holding a file in her hand, "I found something in the hotel's archives that you might want to see." Maya looked up from her work, intrigued by Alicia's tone. "What is it?" Alicia took a deep breath and handed her the file. "I was reviewing some of the hotel's historical records for the rebranding campaign, and I discovered that the Pinnacle's past is complicated." Curious, Maya opened the file and began to read. As her eyes moved over the pages, a chill settled over her. The documents recounted the Pinnacle's history, dating back to its opening in the early 1900s. It was indeed a grand hotel, once considered the epitome of luxury. But the records revealed a troubling reality. The Pinnacle had actively upheld segregation policies, barring people of color from its halls for decades. The hotel had not only refused to accommodate black guests, but had also hosted elite gatherings that openly enforced exclusionary practices. The weight of the words sank in, filling her with a profound sense of disappointment. This was more than just a discriminatory policy. It was a legacy of exclusion and prejudice that the hotel had never properly addressed. For Maya, a black woman who had fought her way to the top, this discovery was personal. As Alicia watched her boss process the information, she placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "I had no idea it was this bad," Alicia said softly. "What do you want to do?" Maya closed the file, her expression firm. "We can't just ignore this, Alicia. If the Pinnacle is truly going to be a place of inclusivity and progress, we need to acknowledge the full extent of its history." Alicia nodded, her respect for Maya evident. "So what's the plan?" Maya thought for a moment, her mind racing through possibilities. "I think we need to make this public. I'm envisioning a formal event, a symposium maybe, where we openly address the Pinnacle's history and bring in voices from the community. This can't just be about changing policies, it has to be about educating people on why these changes are necessary." Alicia's eyes lit up with admiration. "You're really going to do this, aren't you?" Maya gave a determined nod. "I've spent my whole life fighting to be included in places like this. If we're going to make the Pinnacle a place of progress, we have to start by facing the past head-on." In the days that followed, Maya began planning the Pinnacle Legacy Symposium. She reached out to historians, community leaders, and activists, inviting them to participate in panels that would explore the history of segregation in the hospitality industry and the ongoing need for inclusivity in spaces that had once been reserved for the privileged few. Maya also invited young leaders and emerging voices, including Devon, a promising manager she had recently promoted, to speak on the importance of diversity in leadership roles. The announcement of the symposium caused a stir, both within the hotel and in the media. Some praised Maya for her bold decision to confront the Pinnacle's past, while others criticized her for digging up old wounds. But Maya wasn't surprised by the backlash. Real change, she knew, often stirred discomfort. The night before the event, Alicia found Maya alone in her office, reviewing her opening remarks for the symposium. "You ready for this?" Alicia asked, leaning against the doorframe. Maya looked up, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Ready as I'll ever be. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about every person who was ever made to feel like they didn't belong here." Alicia nodded, her admiration for Maya growing. "Whatever happens tomorrow, you're making history." The next evening, the Pinnacle's grand ballroom was packed with attendees. The crowd included hotel patrons, community leaders, activists, historians, and journalists, all gathered to witness the beginning of a new chapter in the hotel's story. Maya could feel the anticipation in the air as she stepped up to the podium, taking a moment to look out over the sea of faces. She had once been made to feel unwelcome here, but now, she was in control. "Good evening, everyone," Maya began, her voice steady but powerful. "Thank you all for being here tonight. This is a special moment, not just for me, but for the Pinnacle and for the community we serve. We are here to have a conversation that has been long overdue." She paused, letting her words resonate. The Pinnacle, like so many institutions in our country, has a complicated history. For too long, this hotel was a symbol of exclusivity, a place that prided itself on keeping certain people out. It upheld policies that were not just discriminatory, they were actively harmful. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, and Maya continued. "When I took over the Pinnacle, I knew I was inheriting more than just a business. I was inheriting a legacy, and I made a promise to myself that I would not shy away from the truth, no matter how difficult it might be to confront." She looked around the room, feeling the weight of the moment. "Tonight, we are here to confront that truth together. We're going to acknowledge the painful history of this hotel, but we're also going to talk about how we can move forward. The changes we've made at the Pinnacle aren't just about luxury or business. They're about justice, inclusion, and progress." The room fell silent, her words settling over the audience like a gentle but insistent force. "We can't undo the past," Maya continued, "but we can learn from it. We can ensure that the future we build is one where everyone has a seat at the table. That's what tonight is about." As she finished her speech, the audience erupted into applause. Maya stepped down from the podium, feeling the support and energy in the room. This was more than just a personal victory. It was the beginning of something larger. A movement to redefine what it meant to belong. The symposium featured panel discussions covering the history of segregation in the hotel industry, the role of diversity in leadership, and the importance of creating inclusive spaces. One of the most powerful moments came when Devin, the young manager Maya had promoted, shared his story. "I never thought I'd have a chance to work in a place like the Pinnacle," Devin said, his voice filled with emotion. "Growing up, I was told that people like me didn't belong in spaces like this. But Miss Holloway saw something in me that no one else did, and she gave me an opportunity. She believed in me, and now I'm here because someone gave me a chance." The crowd responded with a standing ovation, and Maya watched with pride as Devin held his head high. This was exactly what she had envisioned when she took over the Pinnacle, a place where people were uplifted, not cast aside. After the symposium, Maya walked through the ballroom, receiving congratulations and gratitude from guests and speakers alike. Alicia found her near the entrance, a proud smile on her face. "That was incredible, Maya," she said. "You've officially turned this place around." Maya smiled, though her eyes were thoughtful. "We've made a lot of progress, but the work isn't done yet. This is just the beginning." As they left the ballroom, Maya couldn't help but feel a deep sense of fulfillment. The Pinnacle had once represented everything she had fought against: discrimination, exclusion, and prejudice. Now, under her leadership, it was becoming a beacon of hope, a place where everyone could walk through the doors and know they belonged. But Maya knew that the fight for change was never over. There would always be new challenges, new obstacles to overcome, and she was ready for them. Because for Maya Holloway, every step forward was a victory. And she was just getting started. Months passed since the Pinnacle Legacy Symposium, and the hotel's transformation continued to grow beyond Maya Holloway's initial vision. It was no longer just a hotel. It had become a symbol of progress and inclusivity. People from diverse backgrounds and cultures filled its halls, experiencing the luxurious accommodations with a newfound sense of belonging. The staff, now reflecting the diversity of the community around them, welcomed every guest with the same respect, regardless of appearance or status. The Pinnacle's success quickly caught the attention of other luxury hotels and resorts. Maya began receiving requests from industry leaders, curious about her approach, and eager to discuss how she had turned an exclusive institution into one that celebrated diversity without sacrificing prestige. For Maya, this was a sign that her work was beginning to have an impact far beyond the Pinnacle's walls. But, as she sat in her office one late afternoon, sifting through plans for future projects and reviewing the hotel's recent accomplishments, her thoughts drifted to a bigger, more enduring mission. She didn't want the Pinnacle's legacy to rely solely on her leadership. She wanted to ensure that the changes she implemented would remain long after she was gone and expand into an industry-wide movement. The gentle knock on her office door pulled her from her thoughts. Devin entered, his expression brimming with enthusiasm and a hint of nervousness. Over the months since the symposium, Devin had risen through the ranks, proving himself as a capable and inspiring leader. Maya could see herself in his drive and determination. "Devin, come on in," Maya said, gesturing for him to take a seat. "Thank you, Miss Holloway," Devin replied, sitting across from her. His hands rested on the chair's armrests, though he fidgeted slightly, a telltale sign of excitement. "I know you're busy, but there's something I wanted to discuss with you." Maya smiled, intrigued by his eagerness. "Of course, Devin. What's on your mind?" He took a deep breath, his eyes brightening with every word. "I've been thinking about everything we've accomplished here. The Pinnacle has changed lives, it's changed my life, and it's created opportunities that didn't exist before. But I can't help but feel like we could do more. Not just here, but across the whole industry." Maya raised an eyebrow, impressed by his boldness. "Go on." "Well," he continued, his voice growing more confident, "I've been imagining what it would look like to replicate what we've done here at the Pinnacle. Not just at one hotel, but at a network of properties. Imagine a collection of luxury hotels and resorts that all operate under the same principles we've built here. Places that don't just say they're inclusive but actually live it. A brand known for valuing people regardless of their background." Maya's expression softened as she listened, pride welling up within her. She had envisioned the Pinnacle as a standalone beacon of change, but Devon's idea gave her a new perspective. "You're talking about building a network, a new standard for luxury hospitality," she said, a smile spreading across her face. Devon nodded, his excitement growing. "Exactly. There are still so many places that follow the old practices where they're only catering to the elite few who fit a certain image. We could create something different, a movement even." Maya leaned back in her chair, considering the possibilities. She was moved by Devon's ambition, and she could see the vision unfolding. He was right. There were countless other properties, from resorts to boutique hotels, still rooted in outdated standards of exclusivity. She met his gaze, her voice warm with approval. "You're thinking big, Devon, and I like that. This kind of expansion won't be easy, though. We'll be going up against traditions that have existed for centuries." Devon's excitement never wavered. "If anyone can do it, it's you, Miss Holloway. You've already shown that change is possible. We can do this." Maya chuckled, both flattered and inspired. "All right then," she replied, feeling the spark of inspiration reignite. "If we're going to take this on, we'll need a plan, a dedicated team, and properties willing to embrace these values." As she outlined the next steps, her mind raced with ideas. The Pinnacle had already proven that a luxury experience didn't need to be exclusive to be prestigious. By expanding this vision, they could transform the industry itself. Devon was right. This was the beginning of something that could change lives around the world. In the weeks that followed, Maya and Devon got to work, assembling a team of passionate, skilled professionals who believed in their mission. Each new team member was more than just an expert in their field. They were people who had faced barriers themselves, who understood exclusion firsthand, and who were committed to creating spaces of opportunity for others. Together, they began identifying hotels and resorts that aligned with their values. Some properties were struggling or underperforming. Others were simply mired in the past, clinging to a narrow idea of who deserved luxury. Maya and Devon reached out to these places, presenting a vision that promised both financial stability and a cultural shift, an opportunity to be part of a new era in hospitality. During one of their many late-night planning sessions, Devon looked at Maya, his eyes filled with admiration. "You know," he said softly, "you're not just building a hotel chain, you're building a legacy." Maya smiled, her expression proud but thoughtful. "That's the goal, Devon, and it's not just my legacy, it's ours. It's about creating a future where everyone feels valued, where no one is judged by their background or the color of their skin." The plan began to take shape. Maya's team mapped out potential locations, creating a blueprint for a luxury hotel network that would prioritize inclusivity, diversity, and community engagement. Every aspect, from staffing to partnerships with local businesses, would reflect their mission of making luxury accessible to all. 1 year later, Maya stood on the terrace of a newly reopened luxury resort on the Caribbean coast. This property, once known for its exclusivity and members-only policies, had undergone a complete transformation under Maya's guidance. The resort's lush gardens and serene beaches were now open to guests from all walks of life, each one greeted with warmth and respect. As she watched the waves lap gently against the shore, Maya felt a sense of fulfillment and pride. This resort was no longer just a vacation destination. It was a place where people could feel a sense of belonging. Devon joined her on the terrace, his expression mirroring the excitement and awe in her own heart. "I never imagined we'd get this far," Devon said quietly. "It's incredible." Maya smiled, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "We're just getting started, Devon. There's still so much more to do." He chuckled, shaking his head in disbelief. "You never stop, do you?" Maya's smile grew, her eyes filled with determination. "I can't afford to. For every person who walks through these doors and feels welcome, there's someone else out there still locked out. We're not just building hotels, Devon. We're building a movement." He nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "And we'll keep going, together." They stood in silence for a while, watching the sun dip below the horizon. This was more than Maya had ever dreamed possible when she first walked into the Pinnacle that day. She had been turned away because of her identity, but now she was turning those closed doors into gateways of opportunity. In the following months, the network of hotels continued to grow. Properties from across the country and even abroad joined the movement, embracing the values Maya had instilled. The hospitality industry, long rooted in exclusivity, was beginning to change. Other hotel owners, inspired by Maya's success, reached out for guidance on implementing similar programs. Even skeptics couldn't ignore the Pinnacle's impact. Back at the Pinnacle's original location, the legacy of Maya's work was visible at every turn. Guests from all backgrounds filled the lobby, and staff members greeted each one with the same respect and warmth. It had become a place where everyone felt like they belonged, and for Maya, that was worth more than any financial success. One afternoon, as she reviewed reports in her office, Alicia walked in with a wide grin on her face. She handed Maya a news article with a bold headline: "Billionaire Maya Holloway rewrites the rules of luxury, a new era in hospitality." The article detailed the transformation she had brought to the industry, celebrating her vision and the legacy she was building. Maya set the article down with a satisfied smile. "It's nice to see the press catching up," she said lightly. Alicia laughed. "You did it, Maya. You didn't just change the Pinnacle. You're changing the world." Maya looked out the window, her gaze fixed on the bustling city below. She had come so far from that first moment outside the Pinnacle, facing prejudice and rejection. Now she was building something that would last, a legacy of inclusivity, a redefined version of luxury, and a reminder that true progress came from empowering others. "Yes," she replied, her voice filled with quiet pride, "and this is only the beginning." The Pinnacle and its sister hotels were now a testament to her vision, a movement that showed luxury could be inclusive, that every person deserved respect, and that true power lay in opening doors for others. As Maya reflected on the journey, she knew that her greatest achievement was not the empire she had built, but the opportunities she had created for those who came after her. Maya Holloway's vision continued to shape the hospitality industry, with each new hotel in her network reinforcing a shift toward inclusivity. Her brand was becoming synonymous with both luxury and respect, a unique combination that defied the industry's conventional image of exclusivity. As her network of properties grew, so did the legacy she was building. The Pinnacle Standard, as it was beginning to be called, represented luxury that celebrated diversity and championed opportunity, not just for guests, but for employees as well. One day, Devin entered her office, holding a proposal in his hands. Over the past year, he had risen into a key leadership role in the organization, his dedication to Maya's vision proving him to be an invaluable partner. "Maya," he said, his excitement barely contained, "I think you're going to want to see this." Maya looked up from her desk, a knowing smile tugging at her lips. "What have you got for me, Devin?" He handed her the proposal, his voice brimming with excitement. "It's an opportunity to expand internationally. We've been approached by a historic hotel in Europe, struggling to stay relevant but still holding on to the exclusivity model. They're interested in joining our network and adopting the Pinnacle Standard." Maya's eyes scanned the proposal, her mind racing through the possibilities. Expanding into Europe would be a significant step, but it was also a daunting one. The traditions and cultural nuances of European hospitality were deeply ingrained, with a strong preference for exclusivity. Yet, if they succeeded, they could reshape perceptions of luxury on a global scale. "This is incredible," Maya said, her voice filled with resolve. "It's exactly the kind of challenge we need to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible." Devin nodded, his own excitement evident. "If we can pull this off, it'll prove that inclusivity and luxury aren't just possible, they're profitable and desirable worldwide." "Then let's make it happen," Maya said, her voice calm but determined. She knew that this expansion would be a test of everything they had achieved so far, but she also knew it was a risk worth taking. Over the next few months, Maya and Devin traveled to Europe to negotiate the terms of the acquisition and outline a transition plan. The hotel they were looking to acquire was a centuries-old property nestled in the heart of Paris, known for its opulent interiors and prestigious clientele. But as Maya walked through its grand halls, she couldn't help but notice the air of exclusivity that still lingered in every corner. The meeting with the hotel's board of directors was tense. Many were skeptical of Maya's vision, concerned that adopting the pinnacle standard would tarnish the hotel's reputation among its elite clientele. One board member, a gray-haired man named Lucien, voiced his concerns directly. "With all due respect, Miss Holloway," he began, his French accent thick and authoritative, "our guests have come to expect a certain level of exclusivity. The changes you propose may alienate them." Maya listened patiently, her gaze steady. "Mr. Lucien, I understand your concerns, but exclusivity and quality aren't the same thing. What we're offering is an experience where every guest feels valued. Inclusivity doesn't mean lowering standards. It means raising them. We'll be creating a place where every person, regardless of who they are or where they come from, can enjoy luxury without barriers." The room fell silent as the board members exchanged uncertain glances. Slowly, Lucien nodded, his skepticism fading. "It's a different approach, Miss Holloway, but perhaps it is time for something different." With the board's reluctant approval, the partnership moved forward, and Maya's team worked tirelessly to incorporate the pinnacle standard into the historic Paris hotel's culture. Staff underwent rigorous training, adapting to new policies that emphasized respect and inclusivity. For Maya, this expansion was not just about business. It was about proving that luxury could thrive on values of equality and respect, even in places where tradition was valued above all else. As the grand opening approached, Maya and Devon gathered with their team in the hotel's main ballroom, preparing to welcome guests from across the globe. The opulent space with its gilded chandeliers and centuries-old art had been subtly transformed to reflect the new vision. Welcoming displays were written in multiple languages, and staff members greeted guests with warmth, regardless of their background. Devon looked around the room, a sense of pride glowing in his eyes. "Can you believe we're here? In Paris, no less?" Maya smiled, her gaze soft but determined. "This is just the beginning, Devon. There's still so much more we can do." When the doors opened, guests began to fill the ballroom, mingling and marveling at the hotel's fresh atmosphere. Maya watched as people from various cultures and walks of life gathered, enjoying the luxurious surroundings with a new sense of openness and respect. It was everything she had envisioned, a blend of elegance and warmth, where everyone was treated as though they belonged. During the evening, Lucien approached Maya, his expression softened with respect. "Miss Holloway, I was skeptical at first, but seeing this, I can understand why you believe so strongly in your vision." Maya offered a gracious smile. "Change isn't always easy, but it's necessary. True luxury should lift people up, not hold them back." Lucien nodded, clearly moved. "Well, you've given this old hotel new life. I believe you'll do the same wherever you go." The success of the Paris hotel marked a new chapter for the pinnacle standard. Soon, other European hotels took notice, and requests to join the network began pouring in. What had started as a single hotel in America was now growing into a global brand, carrying with it a message that true luxury was inclusive, empowering, and respectful of all. Back at the original pinnacle, Maya reflected on how far her vision had come. She was no longer just building a business, she was building a global movement that reshaped perceptions, broke down barriers, and opened doors. Her legacy was expanding, reaching new continents, and touching lives in ways she had never imagined. One afternoon, as she sat in her office reviewing the expansion reports, Devon entered, holding an article from an international business magazine. The headline read, "Maya Holloway, the visionary, redefining global luxury hospitality." The article praised her for challenging industry norms and pioneering an inclusive model that had transformed not just hotels but lives. Maya set the article down, a soft smile on her face. "It's strange seeing this all in print, but it's nice to know people are finally beginning to understand what we're doing." Devon grinned, his pride evident. "You've changed the world, Maya, and it's not just your vision anymore. It's a legacy that's only going to keep growing." Maya gazed out the window, her heart filled with a sense of purpose and fulfillment. She had faced countless challenges, defied expectations, and persevered against prejudice to build something that would outlive her, a legacy of inclusivity, opportunity, and progress. And while the journey had been long and difficult, it was also deeply rewarding. She had opened doors that would never again be closed and created a new standard for what it meant to belong. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Maya knew her work was far from over. There were still more places to reach, more doors to open, and more minds to change. But she was ready. Because for Maya Holloway, every step forward was another chance to build a world where everyone had a place, where luxury was more than just opulence. It was a promise of respect and belonging. And as she looked to the future, she knew that her legacy, her movement, and her vision would continue to shape the world long after she was gone. The success of Maya Holloway's mission spread across continents. Hotels in places as varied as Dubai, Tokyo, and Cape Town began reaching out, interested in adopting the pinnacle standard. What had started as a single hotel's transformation had turned into a worldwide movement, resonating with people from diverse backgrounds who valued a luxury experience that emphasized respect and inclusivity. Maya was proud of what she had built, but as her influence grew, so did her sense of responsibility. She knew that her work would be incomplete unless she nurtured the next generation of leaders who shared her vision. To Maya, true legacy meant passing on her values to others who would continue the journey. One morning, she called Devin to her office, a thoughtful expression on her face. Devin, now the head of operations for the Pinnacle Network, had become her right hand. He had learned under her guidance, and she knew he was ready for more. Devin, Maya began, her voice warm yet serious, it's time to expand the team again. This legacy we're building, it needs more voices, more perspectives. We've reached so many places, but we can do so much more if we bring in leaders who understand our mission and can carry it forward. Devin nodded, his enthusiasm tempered by a shared understanding of the work ahead. I agree, Maya. I was actually thinking the same thing. There are so many talented people out there who just need a door opened for them. Maya smiled, feeling a swell of pride in Devin's growth. Exactly. And that's why I'm going to need your help to create a program to develop young leaders, people who may not have the connections or opportunities, but who have the potential to make a real difference. I want us to create something that goes beyond just running hotels, a mentorship program that provides not only career guidance, but also a sense of purpose. In the following weeks, Maya and Devin launched the Pinnacle Leadership Initiative, a program designed to train and mentor aspiring leaders in the hospitality industry. They partnered with universities, nonprofit organizations, and local communities, focusing on underrepresented groups that had historically been excluded from positions of power. The program offered internships, mentorships, and scholarships to candidates from diverse backgrounds, giving them the opportunity to work closely with Maya, Devin, and other senior executives in the Pinnacle Network. The program attracted applicants from all over the world. Maya personally reviewed applications, searching for individuals with drive, empathy, and a desire to create meaningful change. One applicant, a young woman named Sophia, stood out. Raised in a low-income neighborhood, Sophia had put herself through college and had dreams of working in hospitality. Despite her challenges, she had an infectious passion for the industry and a vision of her own. During her interview, Maya asked, "What does the Pinnacle Standard mean to you?" Sophia's eyes sparkled with conviction as she replied, "To me, it means creating a place where everyone feels valued. I want to help redefine what luxury means, just like you have, to make it a place that's welcoming to everyone, no matter who they are. I want to open doors, not close them." Maya smiled, deeply moved. She saw herself in Sophia's words, in her passion and her desire to make a difference. "I believe you will, Sophia. Welcome to the team." As Sophia joined the program, Maya worked closely with her, sharing her journey, insights, and experiences. Sophia quickly became an integral part of the Pinnacle family, showing a natural talent for connecting with people and a relentless drive to improve the guest experience. She shadowed Devin, learning about operations, and joined Maya in meetings, where she observed firsthand how Maya's vision was executed at every level of decision-making. One evening, after a particularly demanding day, Sophia sat down with Maya and Devin, exhausted but beaming with satisfaction. "This work, it's hard, but it's worth every second. I didn't realize how much thought and care went into creating a truly inclusive space." Maya nodded, her voice gentle. "Change isn't easy, Sophia, but that's why it's meaningful. Every moment of hard work, every barrier we break, it's all worth it when we see someone feel like they finally belong." Den chuckled, remembering his own early days with Maya. Just wait until Maya starts throwing unexpected challenges your way. That's when you really grow. Sophia laughed, but her gaze was filled with admiration. I'm ready. I want to do this, not just for myself, but for the people who come after me. Over the next year, the Pinnacle Leadership Initiative grew, and the first group of graduates entered the workforce with a mission. They brought Maya's values into every role they held, whether they were managing a hotel or working in guest relations. Under Sophia's guidance, the new leaders embodied the Pinnacle standard, ensuring that guests and employees alike felt valued and respected. As Maya watched the initiative's success, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Her work was no longer just about building a business, it was about building people. These young leaders would continue the mission, carrying the legacy forward long after she was gone. One evening, Maya gathered the entire Pinnacle team to celebrate the program's success. The atmosphere was joyful, and as she looked around, she saw a reflection of her dream. A team that represented all backgrounds, cultures, and perspectives, united by a shared purpose. In her closing speech, Maya spoke from the heart. When I first walked into the Pinnacle, I was turned away. But today, as I stand here with all of you, I see how far we've come together. This legacy isn't just mine, it's ours. Each one of you has the power to open doors, to build bridges, and to create spaces where people feel like they truly belong. And that is the true meaning of luxury. The crowd erupted into applause, and Maya felt the weight of the journey lift. She had built more than a hotel network. She had built a movement that would ripple through generations. As she looked at the young faces around her, she knew that the future was in capable hands. Later, Devon and Sophia joined her by the window, where they watched the city lights twinkle against the night sky. "We did it," Sophia whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "We really did it." Maya turned to her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Yes, Sophia, and you'll keep doing it. Remember, this journey doesn't end with us, it's just beginning." Devon grinned, his pride evident. "Maya, your vision has changed all of us, and we're ready to take it wherever it needs to go." Maya gazed at her two protégés, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude. She knew her time leading the Pinnacle network wouldn't last forever. But with Sophia, Devon, and countless others now carrying her vision forward, she was confident that her legacy was secure. As they stood together, watching the world they had helped shape, Maya felt a profound sense of peace. She had built something that would last, a legacy of hope, of progress, and of belonging. Because in the end, true luxury wasn't about exclusivity or opulence. It was about making everyone feel like they belonged, no matter where they came from or who they were. And with that, Maya Holloway knew her mission was complete. Years had passed since Maya Holloway first entered the Pinnacle as an outsider, determined to redefine the meaning of luxury and inclusivity. Her vision had since taken root, growing across continents, inspiring countless people and transforming the hospitality industry. The Pinnacle standard had become an international hallmark of excellence, known not only for its luxury, but for the respect and warmth that filled its spaces. Maya had gradually stepped back from day-to-day operations, dedicating herself to mentoring others and exploring ways to further her vision. Her protégés, Devon and Sophia, had taken the reins of the Pinnacle network, guiding it with the same passion and dedication she had instilled in them. Under their leadership, the Pinnacle had continued to thrive, expanding to cities and communities once overlooked by luxury hospitality. Each new location bore the marks of Maya's influence, becoming places where everyone was welcomed with dignity. One quiet evening, Maya sat on the terrace of her home overlooking the city skyline. In her hands was a letter from Sophia, written on the crisp letterhead of the Pinnacle Paris, now one of the most celebrated hotels in the world. Sophia had written to share news of the latest initiative, a partnership with a global nonprofit that provided free hospitality training for underprivileged youth. The program, aptly named the Maya Holloway Foundation, aimed to give young people a path into careers they might have never thought possible. As Maya read Sophia's words, pride swelled in her heart. The foundation was the embodiment of her dreams, now carried forward by people who understood the values she had dedicated her life to upholding. Each new project, each young leader inspired to break barriers, was a testament to the legacy she had built. In the years that followed, the Maya Holloway Foundation trained thousands of young professionals, sending them out into the world as the next generation of changemakers. They carried Maya's story with them, her values echoing in the halls of the Pinnacle Network and beyond. Through them, Maya's vision continued to grow, touching lives in ways she could have only imagined. The world had changed, and Maya's movement had become more than just a standard of hospitality. It was a symbol of what was possible when courage met compassion, when vision met dedication. The doors she had opened would remain open for future generations, inviting everyone to experience a luxury that was no longer exclusive, but beautifully inclusive. In her final years, Maya often reflected on her journey, knowing that her work had become something much larger than herself. She had transformed a space that had once excluded her into a legacy that welcomed the world. And as she watched the sun set over the city, a peaceful smile touched her lips. Maya Holloway had built a world where everyone belonged, where everyone was treated with respect and dignity. Her legacy was no longer just a dream. It was a reality that would live on, bridging divides, inspiring unity, and reminding all who entered those doors that luxury at its heart was the feeling of coming home.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can keep bringing you the best stories.